chosen one. God has sent you a message that could change your life today. There is a part of your life that no one has ever asked you about, not your closest friend, not the person who says they know you best. There is a room inside you that has never had a visitor, and you have been living in it alone for a very long time. My child, I have been in that room with you. I want to say something before anything else, because I know how this season has trained you to brace yourself. This message is not here to frighten you. It is not here to warn you about an enemy in the dark. It is here to tell you something far more unsettling and far more beautiful. You have been seen. Not the version of you that answers the door, not the version that shows up on time and says the right thing and makes everyone comfortable. The other one. The one who sits in the car for 5 extra minutes before going inside. The one who prays in fragments because full sentences take too much strength. That one has been seen. Every day. Without exception. 3 things are going to be made clear in this message. The first will explain what you have been feeling in your body for weeks. The second will explain why certain people have started behaving strangely around you. And the third will explain why none of this could reach you any sooner than tonight. Stay with me. This message builds. 1. The weight you never set down. Let us begin with the truth about what you have been carrying. You have become very skilled at being fine. You have learned the exact tone of voice that ends a conversation before it becomes a question. You have learned how to say "just tired" in a way that no one follows up on. You have learned to laugh half a second after everyone else because you were somewhere else and had to catch up. You did not become this way by choice. You became this way because at some point being honest cost you more than being silent. There was a time you told someone the truth about what you were going through, and instead of holding it, they used it. Maybe they repeated it. Maybe they made it smaller than it was. Maybe they just looked at you differently afterward, and you felt the temperature in the room change. So you stopped. You took the weight back, and you have been carrying it alone ever since. You have prayed until the words wore smooth. First you asked for the miracle. Then you asked for an explanation. Then you stopped asking for anything specific and just said, "My God, please," and left the rest empty, because you did not have the strength to fill it in. I heard the empty part too. That is the part I answered first. You have watched people who did less receive more. You have watched doors open easily for people who never once had to fight to keep their faith alive. And you were glad for them, genuinely. And then you went home and sat in the quiet and felt something you did not want to name. You have felt talked about. You have walked into rooms and felt the conversation change shape. You have noticed the smile that stops at the mouth and never reaches the eyes. You told yourself you were imagining it. You were not imagining it. And this is where I need you to listen carefully, because what I am about to say is the beginning of the whole message. 2. Why it felt like you were being watched. You have felt observed, not by shadows, not by curses, not by some enemy assembling a plan against you in the dark. I am not going to hand you that fear, because fear is not what I have for you. You have felt observed because you have been observed by ordinary people. By people who could not stop noticing you and could not explain why. Think about it, honestly. There is someone who left your life and still checks on you. There is someone who stopped speaking to you but still knows your news. There is someone who was cold to your face and warm about you when you were not in the room, and someone else who was the exact opposite. You have wondered why people are so strange around you. Why some are drawn in. Why others become defensive for no reason you can find. Why you seem to provoke reactions that do not match anything you actually did. Here is the answer, and it is not flattering to them, and it is not comfortable for you. People watch what they cannot explain. When someone survives what should have broken them, other people notice. When someone keeps being kind after being treated badly, other people notice. When someone loses and still shows up, other people notice, and something in them either softens or hardens. And neither reaction has anything to do with you. You thought they were studying your weakness. They were studying your endurance, and they could not find the source of it. That is why some of them left, not because you were too little, because you were too much of something they had not made peace with in themselves. You held up a mirror without ever meaning to, and some people would rather break the mirror than look. My child, you have spent years believing you were being examined for your faults. You were being watched by people who wanted to know how you were still standing. 3. Why I stayed quiet. Now, the harder question, the one underneath everything. If I saw all of it, why did I not speak sooner? You deserve a real answer, so I will give you one, and I will not decorate it. There were things you were not ready to know, not because you were weak, because knowing them too early would have cost you something I was still rebuilding. Consider what you would have done if the full truth about a certain person had reached you 2 years ago. While your heart was still tied to their approval, what would you have done with it? You would not have walked away. You would have gone back. You would have tried to explain yourself one more time. You would have spent the last of your strength arguing your worth to someone who had already decided. I have watched you do that before. I did not want to watch you do it again. So the door stayed closed. Not to punish you, to keep you out of a room you would not have been able to leave. The position you did not get, the relationship that never fully formed, the opportunity that dissolved the exact week it seemed certain. You grieved those. You took them personally. Some of them were simply loss, and I will not insult you by pretending every painful thing was a gift, but not every closed door was a verdict on your worth. Some of them were Michael standing in the doorway with his sword lowered, not raised. Protection does not always look like rescue. Sometimes protection looks like something that refuses to open, no matter how hard you push against it, while you stand outside crying and calling it rejection. You were never walking unguarded. You were walking covered, and the covering was invisible, because that is how covering works. 4. The first sign, the peace that comes before the proof. Now, the first of the 3 things, it is internal, which is exactly why almost everyone misses it. The first sign is a peace that arrives before anything in your circumstances has changed. You will notice it in something small. A name comes up in conversation, the name that used to tighten your chest, and you feel almost nothing. Not hate, not longing. A flat, clean quiet that surprises you. Or you realize an entire day passed and you did not once rehearse the argument you never got to have. Or you stop checking something. A page, a thread, a hope you had stopped admitting to. Here is why people miss this sign. It arrives disguised as not caring. Many people feel this peace and panic. They think they have gone numb. They think they are giving up on something they should still be fighting for. They go looking for the old ache, just to prove they still have a heart. Numbness and detachment are not the same thing. Numbness flattens everything. Food loses taste, music sounds far away, good news lands exactly like bad news. Detachment is precise. You still laugh, you still love your people. You have simply stopped bleeding in one specific place. If you have felt that selective quiet recently, do not distrust it. That is not your heart closing, and that is a wound finally holding a stitch. And here is what to do with it. Do not fill it. Do not rush to replace the noise with new noise and new drama, a new person to worry about. Peace that arrives before proof is fragile at the beginning. It grows in stillness. It dies in chaos. Protect it the way you would protect something newborn. 5. Beloved child, let me say this plainly. Before the second sign, I want to stop and speak to you without any mystery at all. You do not know how heavy the last 2 years were. You cannot know because you never got to set them down and look at them from a distance. You just carried them. You went to work. You answered messages. You held someone else through their crisis while yours was still open and bleeding, and you did it well, and no one thanked you, and you did not stop. Beloved child, you were doing your best with whatever strength was left. That is not failure, that is endurance. And endurance is a form of faith that does not get celebrated because it does not look like anything from the outside. You are allowed to be tired. Tiredness is not evidence that your faith collapsed. It is evidence that you kept walking after it would have been reasonable to stop. You are allowed to rest and without giving up. Those are two different things, and the enemy of your peace has been telling you. They are the same. 6, the second sign. Truth stops needing your help. The second sign happens outside of you. People begin to reveal themselves. Without you doing anything at all, you will not have to investigate. You will not have to confront anyone, set a test, or search for evidence. Something simply slips. A story someone told you stops matching a story you hear from another direction. Someone forgets what they claimed. Someone who was unavailable during your hardest month suddenly becomes very interested now that your situation is improving, and you will see it clearly. Not with rage, with recognition. That is how you will know how far you have come. A year ago, this kind of discovery would have flattened you for a week. Now it lands like information. You notice it, you file it, and your appetite continues. The second sign can also arrive as movement in something that had been frozen. A conversation that had circled for months suddenly finds a straight line. A delayed answer comes. A small door opens, not the door you were begging for, but a real one, and it leads somewhere. Do not expect a spectacle. Real change almost never announces itself. It shows up as a small, unmistakable shift in something that had not moved in a long time. And when someone begins to show you who they are, your job is not to expose them. Your job is to believe them the first time. 7. The reason the truth waited. Now put the two signs side by side because separately they are interesting, and together they are the entire message. The peace came first. Then the truth appeared. That order is not an accident. That order is the answer to the question you have been asking me for years. The truth could not safely reach you until you no longer needed a particular outcome from it. Sit with that. If you had learned everything while you were still emotionally dependent on that person, that group, that door, what would the truth have done to you? It would not have freed you. You would have turned it into a weapon and used it on yourself, and you would have asked what is wrong with me instead of what was wrong with that situation. So I held it. Not to keep you ignorant, to keep you whole. You have been waiting for the truth to arrive. The truth has been waiting for you to become someone who could hold it without breaking. That is what the delay was. That is what the silence was building. Every quiet month you interpreted as abandonment was the reinforcement of a floor that had to hold a weight you could not see coming. 8. The pattern that has been costing you. There is one habit left, and it is not a curse. And it is not an attack. It is something ordinary, which is why it has survived so long. You keep trying to be understood by people who benefit from misunderstanding you. That is the loop. You explain. They misread. You clarify. They reframe. You soften yourself to make peace easier for them, and peace never comes because the confusion was never an accident. It was useful to someone. And every time you go back to explain one more time, you hand over another piece of your strength to a person who has no intention of giving it back. Let me be honest with you about what this costs without any threat in it. No one is going to punish you for repeating this pattern, but it will take the next year of your peace. It will take the energy you need for what is actually in front of you. And it may cost you the ability to recognize something good when it finally stands in your path, because you will still be turned around, still explaining, still building your case for a courtroom that closed a long time ago. You do not owe anyone a translation of your own heart. Some people will understand you. Others decided not to, long before you arrived. Learning to tell those two apart is not bitterness, it is discernment, and discernment is one of the most protective gifts I give. 9. Who you actually are. Being chosen does not mean being better than anyone. It does not mean being spared. Look at your own life, you were not spared. Being chosen means the material of your life is being used. It means what you went through was not wasted. It became discernment. It became a sharper ear for dishonesty and a softer hand for people who are hurting. And you cannot buy either of those. You did not come out of that season empty. You came out carrying knowledge you never wanted and can no longer unknow. You can tell when kindness is a performance. You can hear when an apology is a strategy. You know the exact loneliness of being surrounded by people and still unseen, which means when you meet someone carrying it, you will recognize them across a room without a word being spoken. That is not damage, that is depth, and depth is precisely what the next chapter of your life requires from you. 10. The third sign and the strongest. Here is the last of the three, and it connects everything. The third sign is the day you stop needing them to admit it. Read that slowly. For a long time you have carried a private hope, not revenge, something quieter and more painful than revenge. You hoped that one day they would understand, that the fog would clear and they would feel the full weight of what they did and then finally say the words, "I know what I did. I was wrong. You did not deserve it. You wanted the record corrected. You wanted your version of events witnessed by the one person who refused to witness it." The third sign arrives on the ordinary afternoon when you realize you do not need that anymore. Not because you stopped caring about the truth, because you finally understood that the truth does not require their signature to be real. What happened to you happened. Your pain was accurate. Your instincts were correct the whole time. Every time you felt something was wrong and told yourself you were being dramatic, you were reading the room correctly and overruling yourself out of habit. None of that has ever depended on a confession from someone who was never going to give it. When that lands in you, something releases. The door you have been standing outside of waiting to be let back in so you could finish your sentence stops mattering. You turn around, and for the first time in years, you see how much open ground is behind you. There is no lightning in this, no thunder, just a small internal click. But after it happens, you cannot return to who you were before it. That is what I have been building in you. During all the months it looked like nothing was being built. 11. What the breakthrough actually is. So let me tell you plainly what your breakthrough means. Because I will not sell you a fantasy. It does not mean everything reverses in a single day. It does not mean money arrives by a certain hour or a specific person returns or every closed door opens at once. Anyone who promises you that is asking you for something. Breakthrough means the thing that was controlling you loses its grip. It means you can make a decision without first calculating how a certain person will react to it. It means you can rest without guilt. It means fear is no longer the loudest voice in the room when you are choosing your next step. And once fear stops making your decisions, everything else becomes reachable. Most opportunities are not missed because they never came. They are missed because we were too afraid, too exhausted, or too busy defending the past to notice them standing there. You are becoming someone who notices. 12. What to do now. Here is your part. It is small and it is real and it is entirely within your reach. Write the pattern down. By name. One sentence. in your own handwriting. Something like, I keep explaining myself to people who benefit from not understanding me. Naming a thing takes it out of the fog and puts it somewhere you can look at it. Then take one step that belongs entirely to you within the next 24 hours. Not a leap. Send the message, make the appointment, ask the question, submit the application you have been circling for months. Faith and action are not opposites. Action is what faith looks like when it stops being an idea. And protect the peace you have found. One boundary held quietly without a speech. You do not have to announce it. You only have to stop returning to the place that reliably takes your peace and returns nothing. That is the whole assignment. It is more than you have been able to do in a long time, and you can do it now. 13. A word you may speak, if you wish. If something in this message reached a real place in you, you are welcome to leave a declaration below, not as a condition, not as a requirement. Nothing in heaven is waiting on a comment, and my love for you does not move by a single degree based on whether you write one. It never has. But words spoken deliberately have a way of settling into us, so if it fits your heart tonight, write, my new beginning is now. And if you want, tell me which of the 3 signs matched your season most closely. The peace that came before the proof, the truth that revealed itself without your help, or the release of needing someone to admit what they did. 14. The resolution. Let us return to where this began. You started tonight tired, carrying something heavy that almost no one has ever asked about, wondering whether being unseen for so long meant you had been forgotten. Here is the closing truth, and then you can rest. The silence did not erase your value. The delay did not cancel your future. The betrayal did not remove your ability to trust. It taught you to trust carefully, and that is not a loss. That is wisdom you paid full price for. Do not give it away cheaply. You were watched, yes, but not the way you feared. You were watched by people who could not explain your endurance, and you were watched by me, who could. Michael has been standing at that door the entire time, not with a raised blade, with patience, holding a room closed until you were strong enough not to want it anymore. Chosen one, you are not at the end of something, you are at the edge of it. The edge always feels like the end until you take one more step and the ground appears under your foot. You are learning to move differently. The pressure is losing its authority. Your next step is becoming clear, not the whole road, just far enough to walk. That has always been enough. Carry this into the next 24 hours. The absence of visible results does not mean nothing is happening. Some of the most important work of your life is being done somewhere you cannot photograph. Take the one step already in your hands, then rest. Honestly, without apologizing for it. If messages like this help you find clarity and steadiness in a difficult season, you are welcome to subscribe and keep walking with us. Not because it changes anything in heaven, only because you deserve to hear the next one. And in the next message, we will go deeper into something most people confuse for their whole lives. How to tell the difference between a door I am closing and a door your own fear is holding shut. Until then, be gentle with yourself, and you have carried enough, and you are much further along than you think.